Kent, congratulations. Obviously, it's early days, and you have a lot of work to do to get as familiar as you can with what the organization has, asset-wise, players at every level. So when you do that, when you look, what gives you optimism that things can get turned around at some point? And I guess conversely, what are the major challenges you think you faced as a group?
Again, and I don't want to be repetitive with this answer, but I think out of fairness to the players, I need to take the time to get familiar with them, familiar with the organization, staff, everything else. We have challenges, there's no question. The team's not where we had hoped it would be, or the Canadiens hoped it would be at this point in time. My opinion is some of that is circumstance, but there's no question that there need to be changes. And I've got to get familiar with Jeff. We're going to spend a lot of time together here over the next 5 to 7 days and start to discuss what steps need to be taken. I wouldn't choose a job like this based on a roster. I wouldn't look to take a job where the work had already been done. And again, I think I mentioned I didn't come here to fill somebody's shoes. So having said that, I think there are some really interesting pieces here in Montreal that can be built around. There's a different set of players. We have young, exciting players, whether it be a Suzuki or a Caulfield, and we have more established, older veteran players. So my job is to sit here with Jeff. We're going to spend a lot of time and probably speak ad nauseum about what do we do here, what's the vision, what are the first steps. But I can't answer any of those questions without getting to know people, because again, to me, character, leadership, these are all critical pieces of a successful team and organization, and I need to meet people and understand the dressing room.
Our committee wanted somebody that was a really good hockey person, that would complement my skills or my skill set as well as we could, and I think that's what we've done. I'm really confident in that. I know that he was an agent, but I think of Kent as a hockey person first. I've spent a lot of time with him in the last 2 weeks here to talking hockey and team building, and I like his outside the box thinking. But ultimately, it came down to a good feel with Kent, and I just liked his overall philosophies on where this team needs to go, what we have to do, and I look forward to the next several weeks to lay out the plan as far as where we need to go.
Over the last little while here in Montreal, we've seen that there's a difference between talent evaluating and team building. We've heard the word team building come up a few times here. To you, what is your theory behind team building? How do you look at building a hockey team? What kind of qualities do you want like an ideal hockey team to have? And is it as simple as going out and finding the best players, or is there more to it?
I think there's more to it. Certainly, I don't think the team that wins the Stanley Cup every year is necessarily the team with a roster full of the most talented players. To me, team building, certainly there's a culture that we need to create or establish here, and an environment that people want to be part of, where there's a sense that everybody's pulling in the same direction. In a sport that, I've lived on the player side, so I know players are worried that they're in a third-line role instead of a second-line role, and that affects what their earning potential is and things of that nature. I think sometimes it's more about opportunity than money, but we've got to create an environment where everybody wants to pull in the same direction to the fullest capacity possible. I also think personnel-wise, and I'm not talking about hockey, I'm talking about the people that work here. I want everybody to feel like they're part of the process, that they have a contribution to it, that the entire organization is pulling in one direction and trying to win together. As far as team building, there's going to be a first-line center, there's going to be a fourth-line center. So yes, we have to, as part of this process, be able to identify and put a team together that fits our identity, how we want to play, choose a coach that's able to coach to those players. Barry Trotz is coaching in New York. It's probably the perfect team for him to coach, and John Cooper's coaching in Tampa. It's probably the perfect team for John Cooper to coach. So all of those things are relevant when you're trying to build a winning team.
We've been able to see a lot of different players play for the Montreal Canadiens, more than you typically see on on an NHL team. So that's been good and bad. Good for evaluation. But listen, I know it's been a little less than 2 months since I took over. Like Kent said, we're going to spend some time together to talk about what's next and planning and what we have to do. So, I mean, that's really where we're at. This has taken a lot of time, this process. We talked to a number of people, and to come to this point, it's taken several weeks. So I'm happy to get on a plane tomorrow with Kent and join the team and start, diving into hockey 100% here.